Now, whenever I think of the marriage of Prince Harry and the former cable TV actress Meghan Markle, I often think of that hit song by the brilliant songstress Nancy Sinatra. Remember, these boots are made for walking, and one of these days they're going to walk right over you. And that really is, you could say, the sentiment of where Meghan and Harry truly are right now. You see, when he married her, the thing was he felt that she was the intelligent one. And clearly, Harry had been used to having everything done for him, as I've said. And it was fascinating to think that he felt he'd found somebody who knew how the world worked. I mean, that was the deal. She knew the plot. So consequently, he deferred everything to her, always making her feel ultra special. A thing, of course, that had started with her father, Thomas Markle. And this is the problem. As you move forward, you can see exactly now how the sands of time are really shifting. But Harry's left it too late. If he thinks he can commandeer anything back, well, clearly he doesn't understand how the rule book works. It's Meghan first, second and third. But this, some people describe, of course, as their now bonfire of the vanities. Let me explain. Hi, lovely to see you today. Thank you so much for joining me. By the way, I always like to ask these questions, but I was fascinated by this. I read in a newspaper, I think it was a couple of days ago now, a man had bought a brand new house, right? Good luck to him and all that. But then he's converted it back to exactly how a 1970s house would look, complete with furniture and, gas fire and everything like that. And it got me thinking, I mean, I think it's fabulous if that's the way he wants to live. And you get a lot of people doing that, don't you, with 1940s houses and 50s and stuff. But if there was an era that you could go back to, would you go back? And think about this, because I think this is important. What would you miss from the modern era that, it's all very well, isn't it, to say, oh, it's lovely, but there's always something else, isn't there, that we'd forgotten about? The sort of thing I'm talking about, the outside, yes, where you had to go in the freezing snow. There's a lot of modern things that we would miss, but is there an era that you wouldn't mind travelling and living back in, and why, and when would it be? I think that would be interesting to know. Do share with all the fellow chums. Let's get back to your royal story of the day. Prince Harry had a plan, yes, and I told you about this the other day. Screaming match behind the scenes, simply because Harry knew, and you could see from this literally the walk and everything like that, he knew this was going to play out badly. They're not even royals. They've travelled hundreds of miles across state just to simply, offer whatever they wanted to do. Some people might be more compassionate and say, well, they've donated and that's very nice. But what's interesting, you see, is why they felt that, and why did they go into somebody's house trampling around? What was that about? Really, nobody can get to the hut and sort of nub of this thing. And as I told you, she's looking to Netflix to maybe insert her narrative about that at the start of her new series. We'll see how that pans out. Interesting here, though, because Harry felt, and for once, something of a light bulb moment during that fuddled, smoky haze that he lives in, that maybe they should team up with other celebrities, right? Wait until the dust had settled, as it were, and maybe go and offer to go and look around and help and all the devastation stuff with other people. You see, there was a plan there in his head, right? Simply because he felt that if there were other people, for instance, we've seen Eva Longoria donate just to her own area, as it were, her own background. But then if he teamed up with others, then they couldn't just be blasted themselves. Apparently, Meghan thought this was not a bad idea for at least 2 seconds and figured, well, no, she'd be sharing the spotlight. So consequently, Harry's light bulb moment was pushed aside and they pushed ahead. And for anybody who was in any doubt that Harry had no idea how this was going to play out, zoom in a lot carefully. You can see when she's pushing ahead and hugging people, he knows what's coming, but too frightened to say. This has caused fractions in their marriage. There's no two ways about it, because now he realises that whatever he says, I'm sure she'll say, yes, my dear, and then carry on. And now what can Harry do? Other than, of course, keep his head down and hope for the best. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.